Star Trek Generations' funniest moment was Riker secretly getting revenge on Worf for dating Troi. Despite its reputation for being one of the more somber and transitional entries in the Star Trek film saga, Star Trek Generations does have its moments of levity, especially if you know where to look. Beneath all the Nexus time ribbon metaphysics and the gut-punch destruction of the USS Enterprise D, there's a scene that provides some truly hilarious subtext for longtime fans of the Next Generation. At the center of this moment is Commander William Riker, delivering what might be his most subtle, petty, and side-splitting act of revenge ever, right at the expense of Lieutenant Worf. And the best part? It's all because of Deanna Troi. Yes, Riker, jovial, roguish, always by the book #1, plays dirty when his Klingon frenemy dares to woo his ex-girlfriend. And his method of retaliation is so cloaked in plausible deniability that it could pass for a Vulcan chess move. Let's break down why Riker dunking Worf off the Enterprise D's holodeck plank is secretly the funniest moment in Star Trek Generations, and how it's layered with emotional history, relationship drama, and classic TNG humor. A holodeck with a side of petty. The moment arrives early in Star Trek Generations, just after the opening scene on the USS Enterprise B. The Next Generation crew is enjoying a bit of off-duty revelry in the holodeck, where they're role-playing as 18th century naval officers on the holoship HMS Enterprise. Captain Picard, complete with a British naval uniform and a stuffy demeanor, leads the festivities. The mood is jovial and ceremonial. They're about to promote Worf. As part of the ritual, Worf, dressed hilariously out of place in his Klingon warrior stance and stoic expression, is led up a wooden plank to receive his new rank. But just as he reaches for the ceremonial glass of Klingon blood wine, the plank gives way, and he plummets into the water below. The entire crew erupts into laughter. Riker delivers the punchline with a devilish smirk. "Congratulations, Lieutenant Commander." Everyone's laughing, except Worf. He growls as he climbs out of the water, soaked and thoroughly embarrassed. And somewhere in the background, Troi chuckles too. But if you've been watching TNG, especially its final seasons, you know this moment is far more than a good-natured prank. It's a moment of catharsis, a subtle, perfectly timed jab in a love triangle that TNG never fully resolved. The Riker-Troi-Worf love triangle. By the time Generations hit theaters in 1994, Star Trek: The Next Generation had completed its 7-season run. And over those 7 seasons, the romantic tension between Riker and Troi ebbed and flowed like a shuttle caught in a temporal anomaly. Their past as lovers had been long established, but they spent most of the series in that frustratingly ambiguous space between just friends and still have feelings. Enter Worf. In the final season of TNG, the writers made a bold move by exploring a romantic connection between Deanna Troi and Worf. While it came as a surprise to many fans, it was also kind of sweet watching Worf, the gruff, honor-bound warrior, soften just a bit around Deanna's empathic warmth. Still, it caused ripples in the fandom. What about Riker? What was he thinking all this time? The show never gave us a satisfying confrontation or resolution to this triangle. But Generations offered something better, a revenge prank. Riker's payback disguised as tradition. On the surface, the plank scene is a simple tradition: promote a comrade, then dunk him into the drink. Harmless fun. But remember who planned the ceremony? Who programmed the holodeck? Who gave the cue to drop the plank? Riker. The very same Riker who had once shared deep intimacy and emotional connection with Deanna Troi, and had to watch as Worf swooped in during the final season of TNG to claim her affection. Of course, Riker never says anything outright. That's what makes the scene so funny. He hides behind the mask of Starfleet professionalism and faux British pomp, but the grin on his face gives everything away. It's like watching a schoolboy pull a prank on the new guy who's dating his high school sweetheart. Only in this case, the schoolboy is a first officer on the Federation's flagship. The moment is perfectly timed, and even the look Worf gives him as he surfaces suggests, "I know what you did." And Riker's expression in return? "To me." The real comedy, everyone plays along. What makes this moment even funnier is the fact that everyone around them seems to be in on the joke, except maybe Worf. Picard offers no objection. Data, ever curious about human traditions, might think the humiliation is part of the ritual. Troi? She's laughing right along, which raises even more questions. Does she suspect Riker's motivation? Is she secretly enjoying the little ego battle? The humor here lies not just in the fall, but in the underlying emotional complexity that makes the fall so meaningful. It's not slapstick. It's a moment that builds on years of TNG character development. And for longtime fans, the comedy is that much richer for it. Klingon pride meets human pettiness. What's brilliant about the prank is that it exploits Worf's biggest vulnerability, his pride. Worf is all about honor, tradition, and dignity. He doesn't do parties. He doesn't do pranks. He barely tolerates human rituals. So when he's the butt of the joke, it stings. Not physically, he's a Klingon after all, but emotionally. You can see the flicker of indignation on his face. He's not mad, exactly. But he is irked. And for Riker, that's probably the point. After all, Worf isn't some nameless redshirt. He's Riker's comrade, his friend, and now his romantic rival. And what better way to assert a little dominance, to remind Worf who was there first, than with a dunk that says, "Welcome to the club." And don't forget who your first officer is. Deanna Troi, the unseen instigator. While Troi doesn't participate in the dunking directly, her role in the moment can't be overlooked. Her laughter, genuine, lighthearted, and not at all offended, signals that she's not taking sides. Or perhaps, more mischievously, she's enjoying watching the boys play their games. The real humor is in the shared glance. Riker looks at her for just a second after Worf goes under, and there's a twinkle in his eye. It's like he's saying, that one was for old time's sake. And maybe, just maybe, Troy's smile in return says, "I noticed." Why this moment endures? Among all the dramatic set pieces and emotional revelations in Star Trek Generations, this scene has quietly become a fan favorite. Not because it's epic, not because it advances the plot, but because it captures something uniquely Star Trek, the blending of character history, interpersonal drama, and levity. It's a scene that rewards fans who've been paying attention. On the surface, it's a funny little prank. But underneath, it's layered with years of romantic entanglements, unspoken rivalries, and that distinct Riker brand of cheeky charm. It's the kind of humor that doesn't break the universe but deepens it, making our starship crew feel like real people with messy relationships and long memories. The legacy of a plank. It's funny to think that Generations, a film known for its high-stakes plot and emotional farewells, might have delivered one of the funniest and pettiest moments in Star Trek history. And yet, that's exactly what the holodeck scene achieves. In a few short minutes, it gives us comedy, character insight, and a long overdue moment of romantic revenge. Riker may never admit what he did. Worf may never forget it. And Troi? She'll always be the woman who inspired two of Starfleet's finest officers to outprank each